What is up? And today I will be bringing you guys my ranking for each UFC division from worst to best. And I just want to throw it out there right now that the featherweight division, the women's featherweight division, does not count. So let's get on to 10th place, or 11th place? Let's just go with last place. Coming in last place, we have the women's bantamweight division. And before you guys start typing in the comments, what about Kayla Harrison, bro? Kayla Harrison, future champ, former champ. Shut up! Shut up! I did not want to hear about Kayla Harrison, dude, and her big slam takedowns, and her big judo throws. I don't care. I don't care. She beat a 45-year-old priest, or priest's daughter, or something like that, dude. Holly Holm, she's not good anymore. She beat up Holly Holm. I do think that Kayla Harrison's going to get the belt, but she's not going to make that division entertaining. If anything, she's boring as shit. Like, she is not going to make that division fun at all. Juliana Pena is cool. I do like Juliana Pena. I do think that Juliana Pena is going to win the belt, and I honestly do think that she could beat Kayla Harrison. Because if you can beat Amanda Nunes, and if you can really style on her like that, you could beat anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could beat anybody. So, I don't know. I just don't think this division has any future, and all the top prospects besides Mayra Bueno Silva are all older. Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison, Raquel Pennington, 35, 37, 40 years old. I mean, there's no big up-and-comers, at least that I see in that division, and I don't think that division has a very bright future in general, so that's why it deserves my last place ranking. And in 10th place, which might feel a little bit low, but let me explain why, I have men's heavyweight. And I know, a men's division before women's divisions? I know, it's probably crazy. But dude, heavyweight, outside of the top 4, are big fat slobs. Dude, big fat oafs! Big fat oafs! That sit on their couch, and they're just sitting there, they're like, man, being a heavyweight's pretty cool, yeah. Oh yeah, dude, being a heavyweight's pretty awesome. When they could probably be making welterweight right now. They could probably make 170, but their fat asses don't want to eat healthy. So none of those guys can fight, and they all have punching power of 170-pounders, so none of these big fat oafs are knocking anybody out. There's like 3 guys that can even fight in that whole division. You got John Jones, you got Tom Aspinall, Jailton Almeida, Cyril Gahn, Alexander Volkov, Stipe? If you want to... Oh, yeah, Stipe. Oh, Stipe. The 43-year-old fighter. I don't know. Maybe Sergey. But no, dude. Sergey's a big fat refrigerator oaf. A big fat refrigerator! All these guys are. It riles me up, dude. Because, like, none of these guys at all are actually putting in the work that a real professional athlete should put in. They're sitting on the couch, and they literally only train in fight camp. They're only training in camp. It's actually sad. These guys are fat, these guys are plotty, and these guys are slow. I can't even believe that they're even professional fighters, dude. Like, go do something else. I do not want to watch sumo wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I want to watch people fighting. Real professional fighters who know how to fight, and these guys don't. So that's why they're barely even cracking the top 10, dude. I'm sick of it. In 9th place, we finally have a division that actually has some potential. I have women's flyweight. Now, women's flyweight, I actually kind of like women's flyweight, okay? It's kind of like a pity score, a little bit. It's kind of a little bit low. Maybe it's a little bit low, but, like, I like flyweight. I think Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko are great fighters. And I think that their rivalry is fun. I think that they're on the Ultimate Fighter. They're doing all this awesome stuff. They're doing all this promotion. I really do feel like that's good for the flyweight division. And even though she just got completely outclassed on the feet, we have Erin Blanchfield, who I believe that Erin Blanchfield is still the future, okay? Her striking is pathetic, but she's still good. Talia Santos, she's still good. Mananfior is very, very good. She is next up for the belt, and she is going to be good. I honestly think that she could win the belt. Irene Aldana. Wait. Is Irene Aldana strawweight? No, she's not. Irene Aldana is flyweight. She puts on some really, really entertaining fights. So I do think that the flyweight division has a lot of potential, but there's just not that much firepower yet. But I do think that the potential when it comes to people like Manon Fiore, if she ever becomes champion, Erin Blanchfield, if she ever becomes champion, is just absolutely through the roof. So right now, I have them at the number 9 spot. But in a few years, you might see that ranking climb because that division does have a very, very bright future ahead. At the number 9 spot, I have men's flyweight. And, men's flyweight, it's definitely the worst division behind heavyweight or in front of heavyweight, right? Because heavyweight barely even counts at this point. The belt it's a fake belt because John Jones won't even fight that number 1 contender, and 99% of the roster is just big fat refrigerators. So that division sucks. But we got to talk about flyweight here at my number 8 spot. I actually really like the champion. All right, Alexander Pantoja, he's growing on me. Okay, Steve Erceg, I honestly think that he beat Alexander Pantoja for the belt back when they fought at UFC 301. Muhammad Makayev, even though he's annoying as shit, he has a lot of potential in the UFC, and I honestly think that he could become champion. Brandon Royval's good, Manel Kopp is good, Tatsuro Taira's good, Joshua Van, no doubt a future champ. All right, but look at the actual top contenders. Brandon Moreno, biggest fall off in history, right? Who else can fight for the belt, dude? Who? Like, Pantoja has cleared out everybody, and it's like he's going to be out here fighting the number 11th ranked guy in Steven Erceg, and the next guy in line is probably going to be Muhammad Makayev, who's the number 7 guy. So there's just not much depth in the flyweight division, but the future is very, very promising because Tatsuro Taira is very good and Joshua Vaughn is very, very good. So I do think that this division is going to get a lot better in the future, but as of right now, it's my number 8 spot. In the number 7 spot, we have women's strawweight, and yes, women's strawweight, the best women's division. Zhang Weili, such a dominant champion. She's so awesome, so likable, so nice, and such an absolute killer in the cage. Zhang Weili is so, so good, and she is such a good champion, and she's beaten everybody. And she's beaten really, really decent contenders, too. Yan Xiaonan, she's a really good contender. She just ran through her. So, Yan Xiaonan, she's good, dude. She's really good. The Battle of China or whatever. That was fun. That was interesting, right? It's something interesting in this division. And Jessica Andrade, I still think that she's really good if she decides to still fight at strawweight. And yeah, besides that, they're kind of lacking. But I love Zhang Weili too much to put them any lower. So in the number 7 spot, I have women's strawweight. In the number 6 spot, I have men's welterweight. And men's welterweight, there are a lot of great fighters. Leon Edwards, great fighter. Bilal Muhammad, great fighter. Shavkat, great fighter. Usman, great fighter. But there are so many boring fighters. Colby, washed, boring. Leon, boring. Bilal, extra boring. Can't even remember his name, right? Jack Della Maddalena, great. Shavkat Rakhmonov, great. Gilbert Burns, he has kind of fallen off, but I still love him, and I really, really want to see him succeed. So the welterweight actually does have a lot of really good fighters, but some of these guys are just putting me to sleep. Leon Edwards, stop putting everybody to sleep every time you fight, dude. Please make this performance against Bilal Muhammad good July 27th because you absolutely need it. That fight with Colby was pathetic. I fell asleep at the end of the 3rd round, and I didn't even wake up. That fight sucked, Leon. You better throw volume against Bilal Muhammad because he is not going to do it against you. Bilal Muhammad is not going to throw any volume. Bilal Muhammad is going to barely do anything. He's going to throw lazy-ass body kicks, and he's going to shoot lazy-ass takedowns, and that's it, okay? So if you cannot get through this guy, and if you cannot get through this guy decisively, clearly, dominantly, and entertainingly, I don't even know what to say anymore. So my number 6 spot, men's welterweight. Coming in, cracking the top 5 at number 5, we have the UFC, obviously the UFC, light heavyweight division. And Alex Pereira has carried this division the whole entire way. This division is lacking outside of Alex Pereira, Volkan Oezdemir, and Magomed Ankalaev, because Yuri wants to move down. Rakic's multiple ways. It wins away from a title shot. Jamal Hill just got slept, and he's still trying to talk shit on Twitter, acting like he can actually beat Alex Pereira. And then Johnny Walker, one of the most entertaining fighters in the division, is having a fall off of the century. So we're still pretty far away from seeing him really make any noise in the top of the rankings. So there's just really not much going for it in this division except for Alex Pereira. And that's literally it. So that's all I had to say about that division. Number 5 spot, the UFC light heavyweight division. Now coming in at the number 4 spot, as number 4 through number 1 are honestly could all be interchangeable. But I decided to go with the UFC middleweight division. And the middleweight division is awesome, but they're completely screwing over Sean Strickland, not giving him a title shot, giving back-to-back title shots on a guy with a 500 record in his last 6 fights, Israel Adesanya. And, you know, we don't really have that many contenders. We got Khamzat Chimaev just pulling out because he had, I don't even know what he had, dude. And he just pulled out. We got Khamzat pulling out, who's supposed to be a contender. And it's pretty dry when it comes to contenders. Nasruddin Imavov's good, but besides that, there's not many young and up-and-comers coming into the middleweight division. We have some old heads like Cannonier and Vettori, but literally, who even cares about Jared Cannonier and Marvin Vettori? Jared Cannonier, if he beat Nasruddin Imavov that night, which he was winning that fight before it was an early stoppage, so I honestly think that was crazy that they even stopped it. Jason Herzog, you completely screwed over Jared Cannonier's entire career with that one. But yeah, that was, crazy, and it kind of basically ended the title hopes for Jared Cannonier, so he's not really in the mix anymore. But we do have Nasruddin Imavov, who, even though he's an annoying Frenchman, he can still put on a show. So we have, obviously Imavov. Brendan Allen's really good, even though he completely robbed Chris Curtis. And we also have Chris Curtis. Roman Dolidze is probably going to move up to light heavyweight, so we won't have any more of him in the middleweight division. But that division is still stacked. Don't forget it. So in my number 4 spot, I have the UFC middleweight division. Coming in at number 3, we have the lightweight division. And yeah, the lightweight division is cool, but Gaethje's washed, Poirier's washed, Oliveira's washed, Dariush's washed, Holloway's not staying at lightweight, and Pillow Hands annoying Arman is going to be getting the next title shot. So not much going for the lightweight division, but I love Dan Hooker. I love Fiziev. Gamrot, even though he's very boring, he does get the job done. And, of course, we have the most dominant champion and the pound-for-pound number 1 fighter right now in the world, Islam Makhachev. So the lightweight division does have a lot going for it, but it's just not as good as it used to be. So at my number 3 spot, I have the UFC lightweight division. Coming in at the number 2 spot, getting the silver medal, I have the UFC Bantamweight division. And yes, the UFC Bantamweight division, Sugar Sean O'Malley. What a guy. What an absolute guy. But he has no charisma. So I think that does hurt him. Sean O'Malley has literally like 0 charisma. So he cannot talk on the mic to save his life. And, even though he does give really impressive fights, he's just not very good at the talking part about being a champion. So he's not number 1. His division is not the number 1 division. But, there are a lot of great fighters. Petr Yan has some of the crispest boxing I've ever seen. that one of the most crisp body kicks I've ever seen. So, you know, you just gotta love him. Merab Dvalishvili, he is very, very good. I do think that he's going to beat Sean O'Malley if they fight or when they fight. Actually, that might be a lie. I might pick Sean O'Malley. I got to do some more thinking on that fight. But Merab Dvalishvili, he is extremely good. Corey Sandhagen, if he wins August 3rd, could be challenging for a belt after Merab. Umar, obviously, has a lot of potential, undefeated, fighting Corey Sandhagen, top 5 fighter. Obviously, he's great. Chito Vera, he's awesome on the mic, and he has an absolutely wicked chin. So it's always fun to see him get beat up by Sean O'Malley because I can't even believe he ate that knee. So the Bantamweight division is absolutely stacked. Not quite as good as the number 1 spot, but still very, very good. So my number 2 spot, getting the silver medal, I have the UFC Bantamweight division. Coming in at number 1, getting the gold medal, I have the UFC Featherweight division. I mean, Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway is going to be one of the best fights ever. Volk, he's still Volk, and you still have great contenders like Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling, why can I only think of them, Dan Ige just absolutely saved the day at UFC 303. Diego Lopez has an absolutely bright future. And you still have super entertaining people at the bottom of the rankings like Edson Barbosa and Lerone Murphy putting on a great fights at the UFC Apex, and Sadiq Youssef putting on great fights at the UFC Apex against Edson Barbosa. So, with all that being said, that featherweight division is absolutely stacked, and it takes first place in my YouTube video of ranking every UFC weight division from worst to best.